Guys, my name is Mary Benham, and I am going to show you guys some simple ways to do crow, the way to evolve it, and what it is. So I'm going to first demonstrate to you guys what crow is. Crow is basically allowing your knees, or shins better, to make a cross section of your forearms as you bring your forearms perpendicular to the floor to balance on bone rather than muscling your way through it. So what I've got is a couple setups, and I'm going to demonstrate, and then I'm going to let you guys try it out, right? So one of the things that I do for people whenever they're practicing crow, sometimes it's hard to think about getting your feet off the ground, right? And the fear is lifting the feet. So we go ahead and get the feet up high. You can choose to do one or two blocks. If you do blocks, make sure that they're these kind of blocks that stick together so that they don't topple on you. Otherwise, stay on one block, right? And so what you're gonna do, Neely, is you're gonna come up here and you're gonna get a little birdie perch right here, right? And so what happens then is when you put your hands down, for you, this would put the knees right into your elbows, right? Or right into your armpits. For me, I would probably use one of these blocks and then maybe a half block instead, but you're a little longer than me. So what I'm gonna do here is then all I have to do is start to pull my face past my fingertips and then lift one toe and then lift the other toe. And if I don't feel steady this high, I can also come down one more. So when you step on these, be really, really careful. You step basically where those magnets are, nice and softly. Yeah, there you go. And so as she comes over, she's gonna try to put her knees up as high as she can, and then she's gonna bend her elbows back to her blocks. Then she's gonna Susan Summer her legs, like she's got the thigh master in there, right? And squeeze everything to the midline. No, she'll just point one toe and then point the other toe. She's working on drawing her knees and her elbows in. Yeah? Very good. And now she can also work on setting her butt a little lower to the heels. Right? And so do a little cat stretch in your upper back. Yeah, there you go. And now come forward with bent elbows. There you go. And she'll suck her navel to her spine. There it is. Awesome. All right, so this is another way, thank you, Neely. Another way to do it, actually, I'm gonna probably tilt this a little bit lower. What you can do is look and to see how long your forearms are. So basically, your forearm, for me, this meets with my forearm really easily. And what I'm gonna do is and this works for side crow too. Actually, it works really nicely for side crow as well. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come forward and you're gonna allow your chest to try to draw away from that. So it's a way of not using the prop, but using the prop. Does that make sense? If you need support, you can take it higher and higher by doing it this way. But I really like people to feel the activation, and sometimes the brain doesn't understand what direction the muscles need to go. And when you have something you're pulling away from, then it helps you. But if you have something that you want to rest your chest on, and do as well. So you can decide whatever angle feels better. So what we're looking for is fingers spread, the space in between our second and third finger at 12 o'clock, elbows coming back like little T-Rex arms, and then the chest coming forward to this. Does that make sense? And so my hands are back here. All right. And so you can either use it to draw away from, yes. So feel your chest draw away, but feel your butt drop down a little bit. There you go, yes, very good. So did it give you some
I didn't feel like I wasn't afraid I was gonna fall over.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
That was the main thing. Like I was just barely touching it, but it kind of gave me a focus to draw away from too.
Right, and for those people that feel that they're nervous about falling forward, you can also put a blanket or an extra yoga mat in front of your face. But the reality is you see how high those blocks, If it does that, you just turn it the other way because it means north or south, and the north side is rejecting it, right? You can put a little yoga mat in front of your face as a crash pad, but in reality, you see how long your forearms are or how far from the ground she is. She's got like 9 inches to fall. It's not that far, right? And so another thing that I do with students that have never done like crow and side crow and stuff like that, I actually have you do the core work for it. So one of the core work things that I do for crow is literally doing crow on your back. And I'm gonna have you guys come down and feel it yourselves. But basically, when you pull your elbows in and really flatten your hands, the reason you flatten your hands is that the heel of the hand is directly connected to your abs. One of the reasons why you guys never tent up on your fingertips when doing arm things, okay? So you can try that, and it's the same thing with side crow. So when you come to a side crow, now you can feel all this core muscle pulling into the spine, and that is the same muscles that you're going to use whenever you do your crows. So lay on your back for just a second, and I usually flip students over immediately afterwards. So just bring your knees in and your elbows over your shins, point or floint your toes so your feet are together, and then you want to put your elbows up onto your shins and flatten your hands. Now, let's go ahead and shins, there, get them way up there. Do crow on your back. Now get active in your legs, and then draw your belly in and push through your hands and do, yeah, there you go. Now take the knees together and then take both elbows to the side of your thigh. Yeah, get it down on your thigh and then flex those hands, both elbows. Yep, the other one too. Yep. And flex those hands. All right, come out of it for just a second. All right, stop. Rest for a second, and we're back with a little bit of tutorial on side crow. So we talked the other day about the abs that we're going to do for crow and side crow and some tips. These postures are the same in the sense of where you're balancing, how you're drawing your belly in. The difference is one's twisted and one's not. So I typically like to warm people's spine up first. So what we can do, I really like sitting up onto a block or a roller or something. So go ahead and sit tall. I'm gonna have you sit on that. And we're just gonna warm up the spine for a second. So I'm gonna ask you guys to inhale, sweep your arms up, and look how long your spine is, right? This is the key to getting a good twist in. If you're having a problem with your crow, it's because your spine isn't long enough. Right here, draw your belly, navel and upper abs back to your spine. As you exhale, twist to your right and squeeze the breath out. Right? You can let the hand drop down on your low back. You can keep the arms up. What I want is the abs activated, right? Inhale, bring the arms up if they're down. Rotate the other direction. Now, if you feel more core and you feel length and you want to keep your arms up, great. If you want to relax the shoulders a little bit, you twist and let the arms down. So let that go with your breath a couple times. Inhale, the arms come up. Use the exhale to twist you. So feel your belly squeeze and see how you can twist the shoulders more. This is what's going to help you in your crow. So when you go into your crow, especially side crow, it should be an exhale to get those abs activated, right? Do a couple more each time, and then we're just going to take our hands and we're going to turn them to the sky and press forward and kind of C-shape that upper spine, pressing the hands forward with the fingers interlaced. Round that upper spine. Now draw the abs to the spine here and feel strong, strong abs, and inhale, come up, and then release the arms down. All right, so let's talk about side crow for just a second. You guys can turn to the camera if you would like. All right, say thank you for my beautiful models here so that we can do some side crow. Look, side crow essentially is that twist, but balancing on forearms. The problem is that most people try to manhandle these poses. Do you see what I'm saying? This bone can, one forearm can hold me and probably you both up, right? So what we're looking for is this structure, no matter if we're going into crow, I'm looking here. Same thing with side crow. I'm looking to roll into it once I find that perpendicular arm. So there's a couple ways to do it. You notice I just put my elbow on my hip. That is a modified way of doing it, but it's okay. What it does is it gives you two places to support. The problem is if you're really kind of long, it's hard to get the extension in your spine too. But the traditional crow, your hands are parallel to one another, and then this arm is free floating, and so I'll get into that. This arm is free floating, and so is the hip, right? So one of the things that we want to do is be able to pull our face back from the floor. A lot of times I like to use those blocks to give you that focus of pulling your face back for the floor. You can do it from your chest as well. We can do the little prop, the little bird on the ledge thing. But one of the things that I like, especially with side crow, because we're talking about how rounded we stay, is really getting that projection forward. So what I'll do with a block set, this is one of those things where you can use it as a prop to hold you up, or you can use it as a prop to tell you what muscles to do. So what happens with people in side crow is that they come down. Now you can come into it from toe balance, which we'll talk about in a little bit, or you can come into it from a chair pose. The problem with the chair pose is then you're like having to get like down here like that. It's almost better to start off in toe balance if you can, but some people's feet don't like toe balance, and we'll work on that in a minute, right? And if your feet really don't, like you're screaming, you can always take a roller or one of these wedges. For this one in particular, I'd probably like the roller better. The wedges are really great for like handstand stuff. But this way, you're on, and now I can put my heels down a little bit, so I have a little bit more gumption in it, right? So what I'm doing is I'm using this to tell me where to go. So I'm down here, I'm gonna get my elbows either on both sides or flared out, and then as I go forward, I am trying to peek over the edge of the block, right? And so what that does is that tells your body and what muscle groups you need to go forward. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and let's get a block for each one of you guys and let you guys try that real quick. Yeah. So basically, whatever side crow you're doing, the block is diagonal from your hip, and you want it forward enough of your fingertips that you actually have to peek over the edge of it. Yes? So you can try the toe balance. If you feel like your toes are not happy, we can put some stuff under it. All right. So.
Is it going to be my front one at all the time?
Yes, yes, because what you want is the whole weight. And now really look past that block. Go past it even more. There you go. Yeah. Take your hands wider. See how narrow her hands were? They need to be shoulder distance apart. There you go. There you go. So hands wide. There you go. Nice. Now squeeze your inner thighs like it's a stripper pole. Thank you. You think I'm kidding? Try it. You'll know. Right? So that's, once you get forward, now you've got all this weight in your legs that you have to control. And what happens is people break the balance because then they're forgetting about their legs, right? So to do that, when you're extending over, you can actually take one of these little half blocks, which I like, put it in between your inner thighs. That's your stripper pole, right? So as you peek over, hands are wide. As you peek over, squeeze that block like your life depends on it. Squeeze, 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 yes. It's hard when you're on video. There you go. Okay, what I could say for you is that you're not letting your body stay in the twist. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're still like trying to bring the legs around. So when you come into this, friendly, when you come into this, you're already set up. So that's another thing. Get on that elbow. I describe it, have you ever seen a pole vaulter?
Yeah.
When they stick the pole in, what happens is all of a sudden it comes to a crest and there's a stop point right there. So what we're doing is when we come over, and remember this is just a guidance, I'm looking at this elbow and I am trying to get it where it comes to that point, right? Where I can feel like it goes to its tallest point. Now, because you guys are now focusing on legs, if the block sketches you out, you move the block, because sometimes, like, it's easy to focus here when you're moving forward, but then when you have to focus on both places and you're not used to it, so maybe you pick one of them, right? So if you want to try the block in between your legs or in front, and make sure you do both sides. Yeah. And so let me stand here out in front of you guys a little bit so I can see a little more. Start with your feet together because that starts the legs together, right? There you go. Now take your elbow on the outer thigh, right below the knee. Yeah, there you go. Spread your fingers wide. Now, squeeze your inner thighs, bend your elbows, and pull yourself forward. Breathing is a good thing, people. Inhale, exhale, squeeze with your exhale. There you go. So what I could say for you, it's the same thing. Yeah, go ahead and sit down. Okay, so what I was saying real quick is it's the same thing when you go into your chair pose. How many of you guys have had your teacher tell you when you go into your chair twist to not let that knee slide back? So practice your chair twists with that thin block in between your inner thighs, and then keep your knees level. Big toes together, there you go. Now squeeze, there you go. So see how your right knee is coming forward just a bit? Yeah, so butt lower than heart, head higher than heart. There you go. Okay, exhale, forward fold. So just to close this video out, some of the things that you need to focus on is that your hands are shoulder distance apart, which is much wider than your hips because of where your arm bone plugs into your shoulder socket. You're focusing on squeezing inner thighs and you're focusing on pulling yourself forward. So you can either lay the chest on a block, you can either use the blocks to help guide you of what you're pushing over. You can use the block in between your inner thighs. Start off by warming up your spine. Always finish off by wearing out your wrists a little bit. So we do come here's, go aways, I don't knows, maybes. Thanks guys, hope that helped.
Bye.